Hi guys, it's car booty time, yay! I have two computers from the weekend. One of them is more retro than the other, that being this one. But they were cheap. So this machine I paid €12. We started at 20, we haggled, we ended up at 12. And the other one I paid only €8 for. I wouldn't really call the other one retro, but let's see if we can get anything useful for €8. Yeah. So this is a Packard Bell, which is not something I would generally buy. Intel Pentium 4 and a Windows XP logo. Okay, let's have a look inside it. And I do know from the card boot, because I can see in here that this is a socket 478, so definitely a retro machine. Some little catch or something that holds us together, I think. I'm gonna make a bit of a noise and nothing happened. Typical, yeah. Let's see if we can just get inside this thing. We can, okay. And there we are. So, in fact, it's an Asus motherboard, P5S800 with AGP. We have an AGP graphics card in this. There's a hard drive in it down here, which is an IDE hard drive. 320GB. So that's what we have. I think the value in this is probably going to be in the motherboard. So I'm going to take this thing apart. Yeah. This is a standard ATX. It could go into anything. And let's have a look to see if we have any of our €12 worth here. And we have then IG 320GB. Okay. This is one of the larger IDEs. I'm pretty sure I had 500GB IDE back in the day. The largest apparently made an IDE with 750GB, and they are becoming somewhat collectible in actual fact. A quick check on eBay, sold listings say about £50, UK listings, although sometimes they are going for less than that, sometimes a bit more actually. Interesting. So anyway, 320GB. Our motherboard, we've had these before, definitely had these motherboards before. So probably worth in the region of about £40 in the collector's market. You never know, it could have the elusive 3.4GB CPU in. But as I mentioned before, I've only ever found one, and that was before I had the channel actually, which is getting over 4 years now. Okay, but you never know. And a Gigabyte GV-R351L 256 meg graphics card. Some sort of Radeon thing, no doubt. Okay, so let's have a look to see if there's any problems with this motherboard. It looks pretty good. Looks. All the capacitors look good. Okay. You see, electrolytic capacitors don't just fail with age. Yeah. These are the capacitors on the VRM on the low voltage side, which have the high frequency. They are solid polymers, so this should be quite a reliable board. There's a whole other stash of them under here as well. So I'd imagine this is probably quite a reliable board in actual fact. Let's check it for shorts and then let's see if it does anything. I've noticed, by the way, that on there, which obviously was fitted by the builder. Yeah, it was obviously made to go on here for some reason. Quite why they thought that would short against something, I don't know. Well, there's no shorts on the 12 volts, so let's try this. Power on. A little green light came on. You probably can't see it, but it's there. Start. Oh, and it's booting. Yeah, this is going to boot quite clearly. Has control of the fan. Let's attach the monitor. It has onboard video, so we'll try that. In fact, no, I'll tell you what. Let's just try the card that came with it. So, once again, booting. What do we have? Packard Bell. So they've got their own splash image, whatever you want to call it, on the BIOS. Even though it's an Asus motherboard. No keyboard detected. Well, you're right, because there isn't one plugged in. And attach the hard drive. I didn't see what the CPU was. Okay. Let's attach the hard drive and the keyboard. So we should see if this is actually worth more than the 12 euros we paid for the machine. I note obviously this has like this proprietary BIOS on it, but I don't see why we couldn't just put the normal BIOS file on. I'm pretty sure we could get hold of that. The BIOS is actually in a socket, which makes it quite easy to do. I've loaned my BIOS, or rather EEPROM program, to Carlos at the moment. He's doing some work on some old games consoles, so I'll let him use it. But yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult to do. I've got the adapters for these for the programmer. So does it have any value? Well, there's one for sale there, but we do know that for sale and what it's worth are not always the same thing. Somebody thinks they're rare. Okay. That's probably more like what I thought they would be worth, that sort of price. Let's go to the advanced options and put sold items. Now we see what they're worth. Yeah, and two of them have sold in November. That one for 36. That is the same board. And that one looks different. Same model. Well, mine's this VM/S, but that's LGA775. Anyway, about £40 seems to be the going rate for the motherboard, what I expected. How about this graphics card? Well, I don't see any sold the same. Unless that is one. No, different number. But that is a Radeon 9550, which is what it says this is. And they seem to fetch about £25, okay? Or at least I think it is, because I can't seem to find any that have this actual number. Yeah. But if that's what it is, 25, 40 of the motherboard, yeah, £65. So not bad really for 12 euros, that one. So what is my board? Is it a 478? Is it a 775? Well, look, it's actually a 775, and I honestly thought, because of this shape and size and the frame on it and everything else, that this was actually a 478, and it's not. Okay, so we can see then LGA 775. Mine is that one, VM/S. There is also a VM that's sold for 36. That's sold for 47. So I'd say that this is, yeah, let's just say £40 in between those. I wonder what CPUs this actually takes. I expect it probably only takes Pentium 4, that it doesn't take Core 2. Yeah, it takes Celeron D and it takes Pentium 4. And Pentium 4 Extreme. So definitely no Core 2 support on this one. Okay. This heatsink mount though, that's unusual. See, it's bolted to the board. Really, I have to say that's the first time I've seen that type of heatsink mount on a socket 775, which is why for a while I thought this was a 478. What do you think, guys? Have you seen that? Is it common? I'm pretty sure I've seen these motherboards before, but with the circular type fan and, like, yeah, the little twist plastic mounts. Interesting. Okay, so here it is. HP Pavilion machine. I was drawn to this really for two reasons. One, that it says Intel Core i7 on the front, and two, because the guy wanted €10 for it, and after a bit of haggling, because I offered him 5, we settled as €8. So this is not really a retro machine, being a Intel Core machine, but it's not a very new machine either. There's no USB 3 on here. It has a graphics card of some sort in there, and it's heavy, yeah. So probably a very early i7. It might even be the first generation of i7. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't see it being any newer than the second or third gen, because after that it would have USB 3 on. Certainly even maybe third gen it might have a USB 3 on, yeah. So it opens up, and that's what's inside it. This looks to me like it probably is one of the first generation i7s. There's a hard drive in there, WD10EADS. That could be a 1TB drive. There's a lot of fluff in here, yeah. Fluff came free. So €8, guys. PCIe machine, quite a big graphics card, and it's going to be a very old one. So the question is, for a machine like this, it's probably like too old to be useful, really, and too new to be retro. So where does that leave us? Does that mean we just lost our money on this? I don't know. So I'll take this thing apart because I'm interested in what's in it, and let's see from there. I've noticed this has a Windows 7 license number sticker on the side of it, so that probably gives us some idea. And the hard drive looks like it's from 2009, okay? So, apart from a lot of fluff and dirt, and I've removed the worst of it, okay, we have MS7613 motherboard, 4 strips of RAM in here, okay. We have a little PCIe wireless adapter. We do have a 1TB hard drive. I find these useful if they're working. I've mentioned it before, I'm sure. So I use these to back up all my YouTube videos. I make 2 complete copies, and then I just stash these away so they're not kept on the computer. I have 2 copies of everything in case one of these old drives packs up, but they're just there to be put on one side. They're not kept on the PC, so nothing can get at them. Basically, that's the idea, okay? And a graphics card. I'm guessing there's some sort of Radeon thing, old, I'm sure. No, it's an Nvidia card. Interesting. Thought it would have been a Radeon. It's an Nvidia card. Okay. I doubt this is anything very exciting, but who knows. It has a funny little connector here on this one, actually. So this was connected via 2 wires to somewhere on the motherboard. In this area, I think it went to. And we have a similar thing here as well on the LAN adapter. Maybe this is some sort of wake-up signal, just a guess. So, question, does it work and what is it? I actually thought that the original generation of Core i whatever had triple channel memory with 3 rows of RAM. I've certainly had motherboards like that. Okay. AmiBIOS 1999. How about that? No onboard VGA. I had a look at the wiring, and I'm pretty sure that those 2 pins there are the power. Okay, so let's see if we can get this thing to start. It has a bleeper on, but first things first, let's just look for any short circuits here. Yeah, that's okay. No PCI on this, so I can't put the PCI analyzer in. I do have a PCIe analyzer, but it only works on some motherboards. Let's just try this thing. So first, without the graphics card, let's just see if we get any bleeps out of this. I mean, the RAM is fitted at the moment. And let's see if it even starts. So power on. doesn't start. Oh, it does start. And probably saying there's no graphics card, so let's just plug this thing in. It has a little power connector on the back of it. Okay, I have the video capture on. What does it do? Starts. Fan spinning on the graphics card. Same thing with 3 bleeps. Okay, well, without the analyzer to guide us, let's take the RAM out and see if we get the same. Okay, so power on. There's like a delay when it starts. Then it starts. No, that's a different beat code. I'll put 2 of them in. What are these, by the way, is out of interest? DDR3, the 2 gig each strip. Okay, put those 2 in. Start. Now it's not bleeping. Huh? Put this graphics card back in. In fact, I'll put a known good graphics card in. I tried this card, wouldn't bleep, wouldn't give a picture. I think it's a good one, but I'm not 100% sure. I do have some good ones, I'm certain. So I've put this graphics card back in. I've put the RAM in the other slots. It now gives the 2 short plus 1 long bleep without a graphics card. So let's see what it does with this one in. Well, it's got control of the fans. Oh, we have a picture. System fan, yeah. It's complaining about the chassis fan. Yeah. And it's rather a funny colour, like there's some problem with the connector. Okay, well, apart from taking a slice out of my finger, I don't have the chassis fan. I'll just see if it just stops leaking that, yeah. Okay. Well, okay, I've connected the fan, but it doesn't actually work. Seems a bit, yeah, a bit seized up, that thing. Okay. Oh, how about it works. Let's try pressing F2 anyway. Hard drive. So this is going to boot up, I think. Let me try that 1 terabyte drive and see what it does. Again. Start. Yeah. What do we have? F10 configuration, why not? I'm just gonna, well, I can always change it to English. We can put the setup defaults in. And see, it went back into Spanish. Oh, default must be Spanish. Okay, no worries. Okay, so exit and save changes. Yes. I can do the Spanish as well, not as good as English, but I can do the Spanish. So Windows 10 on this machine. I only have 4 gig of RAM attached at the moment. Probably the slots want a bit of a clean. Well, after deciding it wanted to do some sort of updates, we're now in Windows, or at least on the loading screen. Yeah, but I think there's a password on this one, so I probably can't get into it anyway. Yeah, Okay. So what do we actually have here? Apart from the hard drive, and that's actually useful to me, so, you know, €8, I'm not too worried in the slightest, really. I was hoping to get into Windows so we could just see what this stuff is, but I'm sure we can figure it out. That's the cable that was connected to the graphics card, by the way, into there, but it obviously works without it because I didn't have it connected. Let's look at the CPU. What do we actually have here? i7-860, so that is the original generation of an i7, the very first one. And this number tells me this is a GeForce GTX 260, 1.8 gig. Bit strange that, I would have thought. Okay. Fisker. It says Fisker on it, so that's what it actually is. I wonder if this is worth anything. Well, the motherboards, people are asking this for them, apart from this one who's asking that for it. Okay, so, and another one there, yeah. So according to that, the motherboard really isn't worth anything. We can look in the sold listings, of course. Well, actually, one sold there with an i5 350 for £15, which is more than I paid for this thing, by the way, €8. That one had 16 gig of RAM and a Windows 11 bundle, really runs Windows 11 on this, and the graphics card is sold for 60. Sold for 41, 27. So they kind of like a bit all over the place, the prices on this, yeah. I'm going to say it could be worth £20. Yeah. CPU sold £12. Yeah, that's sold. Another one, same price. Okay, so 12 for the processor and 20 for the motherboard. That's 32. And how about my graphics card? GTX 260. About the same. Look, 18 sold. That's a different brand, I'm guessing. BFG, that fetch more. That sold. So another one sold for 10, 18. Let's say 15 for that as well. So if I was to sell this stuff, I am in profit. Yeah. An interesting question to end up with then. So, question, are people buying these at those sort of prices because they're useful? Yeah, want to make a useful machine to use. Are they buying it for that reason? Or are people buying this stuff because they think this may become a retro collectible at some point in the future? And I think that's impossible to answer, really. I would say that in the 1990s, the idea that the computers we were building and buying then would become retro collectibles, I don't believe ever crossed anybody's mind. I mean, I had a computer shop, a business, yeah, and it never occurred to me, as I gradually upgraded and changed PCs over the years and decades, that that stuff would become valuable, and yet it did. Yeah, the proof is in the pudding, it did become valuable. So, in 20 years' time or 25 years' time, will this stuff be valuable? That is the question, yeah? And if this stuff does become valuable, which items are going to be the most valuable? Is it, for example, going to be the first generation of i7s that become collectible? We can say for certain, because you can look this up, that this and the GTX 280 were the first ever GTX graphics card. That would suggest that these will become valued collectibles. And it would also suggest that if you're going to stash one or two away now, you should stash away the GTX 280 because it was more expensive, therefore there's probably less of them about. Let's see if they're actually fetching any money right now. Well, there's one for sale there asking 34. It's the only one I can actually see for sale. But if I go into sold, I don't find any that have actually sold. I think if somebody wants to speculate, I would suggest that pick up a GTX 280 and stash it. If you think you've got like 10 years, you can happily wait. Yeah, that may be a collectible. I don't know. And I don't know if you guys know either, but hey, get down there and let's talk about it, yeah? So, hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you all soon again on Learning Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.